Hello, Dallas. Hello, everyone, and good evening and good afternoon, good morning to all my global viewers. Thank you so much for joining the live program for FB, and welcome to my show, Global Gupshup, an Asian news presentation. And I'm your host, Anu Venakatti, taking you all on an exciting journey with me to meet extraordinary people every time in every episode. You all know we are continuously celebrating Women's International Women's Day. So as we continue celebrating the women, and in the month of we witnessed out of a I have to say this, out of a kitchen into the White House, right? Absolutely. But women are still underrepresented in many areas, as to speak. And besides, the tremendous effort and effective way of their contribution, participation, valuable, asset that they have to just give. Globally, women deserve a future which should be completely free from violence, social stigma, and a stereotype, and to have equal rights and also opportunities. And I hope you agree with me, because they deserve to be every single table that where the critical important decisions are made. So folks, today I have to tell you, and I'm very proud to say this one, to prove it and justify this what I said, the statement, I have a very special guest with me, and she's the first African American sheriff in Dallas County, and one of only, I have to say this, one of only three African American female sheriffs in the United States. So, and she pursued her degree from University of Arlington right here, and a graduate of a IFBI National Academy Associates Command College. And also, she has appointed interim sheriff of Dallas County in December 2017 and sworn in January 2018. And she began her career in a law enforcement in '88 with the Duncan Police Department, and she was a pioneer in that. She was the first African American female hired by the Duncan Police Department in '97 and was promoted to the rank of lieutenant. So in 2005, she's assigned to a command, the Criminal Investigations Division. By the way, we're going to find out a lot more about that as we go. And there she served until 2007. And when she was named to the position of Assistant Chief of Police, and she served as Assistant Chief until 2014, when she retired and joined Dallas County Sheriff's Department to serve as Chief Deputy in charge of General Services. So, without further ado, it's my pleasure. Please join me in welcoming Dallas County Sheriff Marianne Brown. Thank you so much. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Miss Anu, for having me on the show today.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And thank you so much for taking the time to join and sharing, every experience that, and because we are celebrating Women's Month. So
Right.
I'm so excited to ask not just about, you wearing the hat of the officer, but also we are going to go today. I would like you to take us, and our audience into a different world of your world, I should say, your world, and as a woman, and let's export you in the role of a woman who is wearing many hats and handling many responsibilities flawlessly. So let's start with please do share, tell us about yourself and where you are from, and a little bit about you growing up.
Yes, Miss Anu, I love to share with you a little bit about myself. I will start off by saying we are making progress as women. As I listened to your introduction, I heard you say that there were three female sheriffs throughout, African American female sheriffs throughout the United States. We
Right.
have made some strides. There are now five as
Ah,
of the last election.
uh,
So, how exciting is that? But I grew up here in Dallas County, right where I work, where I serve today. My family grew up here. My family is still here. I went to a local high school and got my education, as you said, I went to the University of Texas, Arlington, which is not far from here. It's still in the DFW Metroplex. But where I grew up is probably what was considered and what is considered an underserved area.
Hmm.
I had a large family, many siblings, and we were underserved, but we didn't know it at the time.
Yes.
Uh, I can tell you that nowhere at any point do I seem to recall ever imagining
Mhm.
serving in this capacity as
Right.
a young girl.
Wow, wow. That must be very, I mean, at some point it must be overwhelming when you join, like, and then so like, did you like, oh wow, this I'm the only one? Did you feel that way? Just, that feeling?
I don't know that it occurred to me until someone mentioned it, and I started thinking about it, and I thought, oh my goodness, wow, I guess
Wow.
so. Yeah.
So I'm sure that you were so proud that okay, then I have to make it. So this is probably the way that I'm going to put the stepping stone for the other ones, so that I have to prove myself that. So
Indeed, indeed, and like you said, it's not just about being a first. It's
right,
about opening a door and then holding a door open for somebody else. Not just being able to say that you were a pioneer, but what did you do for people coming behind you? What stones did you lay for someone to use as an elevator for their career behind you?
right, right. Oh, that's fantastic. And actually, I should thank you for that, because I'm very sure that the lot of women are following you in your footsteps to take that chance and choose this one as their career. So.
Yes.
Take us to your journey from like after that you entered a college. I'm sure that you had a very interesting college life as well, and and you came all the way to take the role of a sheriff.
Well, you know what? It was, as I said, never my intent to be the sheriff of Dallas County. It was never my intent to go into law enforcement, truth be told. I went to school for journalism. That's what I wanted to do. I kind of wanted to be in the middle of everything, and I wanted to be in the know. I wanted to get to meet people and every day have a different experience. But somewhere along the way, I had friends who worked for the sheriff's department at that point, and some worked for the Dallas City Police Department. And I began to hang out with them, if you will. And so I started writing out, and I decided that this was probably something that I wanted to do. But the challenge for me was that I would have to now tell my single mother who was putting me through college where I was in my senior year. Now I've decided I think I want to do this policing thing.
Right, right.
So I had to tell her that. But, she was most supportive when I did get around to telling her.
What was the reaction when you said that, like, Mom, I'm going to be a police officer and I already got it?
Well, it really wasn't like, Mom, I'm going to be a police officer. It was more like, hey, how you doing? Uh, yeah. So I was thinking,
Wow.
but she was most supportive when I told her, and she was not surprised or anything. She just looked at me and said, "Well, you do what you want to do, because if it's something that you want to do, I know you're going to excel at it."
Right, right, right. Wow, wow, that's amazing. I hope all parents are that supportive to choose
Hmm.
that kind of career for their kids.
Yes, yes,
So that'll be very, very supportive to the whole
yes.
say. So, well, okay, there you are, you're sheriff. So tell me, I want to know what was your first assignment as an officer? So, experience.
My first assignment, let me say that once I decided that I was going to go into law enforcement, it was my intent to do this for about a year,
Uh-huh.
1 year only. I was going to get it out of my system, and then I was going to get back to, real life, what I had planned to do.
Right,
And so 1 year into being a local police officer in the city of Duncanville, I found that I was enjoying and that I was feeling the need to stay there because I felt like there was a need for me to be there in that community.
right,
So
right,
my first assignment was a patrol officer, and that's the person that we see out on the street every day. The squad cars that you see, those folks who are answering those calls for service, those folks who are out there making those traffic stops, those folks who are out there working those accidents. That was my assignment, and it was an assignment that I had on the evening shift. I
okay,
got off work at midnight, and would go home and get up the next day and be ready to go before it was time to go. Because at some point, I was enjoying myself to the degree that I thought, oh my goodness, I get paid to do this. I actually get paid to go out here and meet the community. And at that point, I had decided that I would take it upon myself to reach out to the community and try to dispel some of the negativity that the community had, even back then, for
Right.
law enforcement. And so that's what my first assignment was. And it wasn't long after that that the chief of police where I worked would notice that there were certain gifts, if you will, that I had, and he would say, you know what, I think I need you in community relations, so and community policing. So he moved me over as a result of that.
Wow. So that must be a big change from going from just a patrol officer to taking the more responsibility to that one. So, and I'm very sure that it needed a lot more your time, also the effort. So, how was your family supported in your success when it comes to that?
Well, at that time, for the most part, I was not. I was a single young lady,
Right.
and again, I was just enjoying life. I was just enjoying myself. So there was a greater requirement for time once I moved over into community policing and community relations. But I was okay with that. I mean, at that point in my life, I could work all evening
Mm-hmm.
at an event, get up the next morning and be at another event first thing in the morning, and I would be okay with that.
Right.
So there was a greater requirement for time, but it was just something that I was just loving and enjoying, and it was no problem for me at all at that point.
Wow. So Miss Brown, what you're also agreeing is being single is has its own advantages. Am I right?
Indeed, yes, indeed.
Okay, that's good to know. Even as an officer, you agree for that. Okay. Well, I'm going to get into something. It's more a little bit of a serious question. So, have you ever been into a situation, where you felt like hindered, restricted,
Mhm.
just because you were a brown woman? Like,
Well, yes, indeed. You know, as a young patrol officer, once I realized that there was what I call a calling on me to be in law enforcement, and I decided that I needed to rise in rank in order to be able to affect greater change. And in order to rise in rank, then there were certain steps that you had to take, including taking exams. And so I was a little apprehensive about taking a promotional exam because I was concerned about, how are people going to receive me? How are the folks that I am supposed to supervise if I'm promoted? How are they going to react to me being the first African American female in that setting? And now, in a predominantly male dominated profession, here I come
mhm,
to kind of, change things up a little bit, to
yeah,
kind of upset things a little bit. So there was a great deal of apprehension, but I tested anyway.
mhm,
It was my intent to test just to kind of get a feel for how the test was, how testing existed, and before I knew it, then I had done so well on the test that there was actually an opportunity for me to be promoted. And then once I was promoted, there were instances when some of my male counterparts would make it a point to make sure that I was in earshot as they talked with one another,
wow,
and they would say things like, well, I don't want to be on her shift, or I don't want to work for her. And I don't know if that was because I was a woman, or because I was a woman of color, or just sour grapes. I don't know. I suspect that it had a lot to do with them not having experienced a woman of color being in a leadership role,
right.
and actually them having to respond to a leader who was a woman of color.
Yes, well, definitely, because like when I mean, if I can connect to this question to the one that can be asked was like, okay, so theoretically, yes, and you can show your intelligence, and you always pass exams. So what about practicality? Like when you actually face that, when you came into a actual situation, like because you served as a criminal, the investigation officer. So
Mhm, mhm.
what happens then? Like, did you ever face anything like, okay, you leave it and it's not for you kind of thing?
You have to work harder,
Okay.
and you have to work harder. And while some say, well, it's not fair that you have to work harder, whether it's fair or not, it
Hmm.
doesn't matter. The truth is, you have to work harder, you have to work smarter, and you have to prove yourself.
Hmm.
And at some point, eventually,
Hmm.
then you earn.
Hmm.
You don't get it, you just earn it. You earn the respect of your counterparts. And so it's very important that you work harder to show them. You don't have to keep saying, well, I'm the boss, or you have to do this because I'm the leader. No, what you do is you let your actions speak for you. And
Right.
eventually you will earn the respect of your coworkers.
Right.
In terms of being in investigations, that's a huge challenge because it's a step away from the patrol officer role, which is the role that you see most officers in. When you step into investigations, then that's a specialized area.
Right.
So even more so, there
Yeah.
tend to be challenges
Right.
for females who move into investigations.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, if I may ask, like because I know that since we are celebrating Women's Month, whether like it is ever since if I'm correct, it's 1911 officially we started celebrating Women's Day internationally and globally.
Mhm.
Um, so, do you think celebrating Women's Day has brought us women considerable change when it comes to in every aspect, especially gender equality? If you agree, then how?
I do believe that it has placed a spotlight on the talents and the abilities of women as a whole. There might have been a tendency to believe that women were just dull, if you will, that we had no real gumption, but
Uh-huh.
we do. And I think that us celebrating women puts a spotlight on our gifts and on our talents, and the need for women to be included in all roles and all walks of life.
Correct, correct. Yes, I think that definitely makes sense because I think unless you give yourself a chance for doing that, I don't think you can even prove it to someone else as well. So
Right.
that's really wonderful. Okay, so the next one is going to be for all mothers, probably. We all consider that mother, like we have the best choice to teach what we want to our kids,
Mhm,
and that is why being the first teacher to your children.
mhm.
So what is the most important thing that if we want to teach? So, what do you teach your daughter, if at all it is the first thing that she has to know?
Mhm. I think it's important to teach them to love. It's important to teach them to love themselves and to appreciate themselves and to have confidence in themselves. That is so huge. Uh, we have to get our daughters, if you will, we have to prep them ahead of time because at some point later in life, they're going to encounter those challenges. And if we haven't really strengthened them, if we haven't given them the stamina that they need to endure those challenges, then they might suffer a setback.
Right, right, right. What about, I mean, what is your opinion on forgiveness? Like, what is the limit, you think?
On forgiveness,
Yes, because I know,
oh,
like women are very, like they have a big heart, and also I know that this they definitely think in a very positive way, and they
mhm.
also forgive a big crimes. So what is your take on it?
I think that forgiveness should always be an option. I think it should always exist and it should always be an option. Yes. And not just forgiveness in terms of other people who have trespassed upon us, but we have to learn to forgive ourselves for our own shortcomings. We have to say that it's okay that we didn't reach a particular goal, and we have to get up and we have to try it again.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I think so. That's my next question is going to be that one. I know that. So you get up in the morning, work so hard, and your job requires tremendous amount of physical strength, I should say, and also smart thinking, and not only that, and decision making skills that has to be just like that, because you cannot like wait. I want to think. No, there is no such situation. Sometimes that you have to like yes, go do it. So
Right.
where do you get that? Like a quick thinking and motivation yourself. Like where is that coming from?
You know, it's something within that creates this desire to show that women can indeed excel. Uh, I want to show that we possess an enormous strength
Hmm.
and an enormous endurance,
Right, right,
both mentally and physically. And there is a desire to encourage other people and to basically say to other people that if I can accomplish this, then you can accomplish this too. I'm ever mindful of the fact that there's always someone watching me. I anticipate that there's always somebody looking for just the slightest bit of encouragement from something that I say or something that I do.
right,
Even as I work day to day here with my coworkers here at the county, I
yeah.
try to make sure that I encourage others. And I think that that's probably a huge motivator for me.
Right, right. So, and also that you had assigned like what is it, the criminal investigation division that you worked with them, and I'm
Yes.
very that the handling some of those criminals was not easy, and making the decision was very critical. So, like, is there any situation that you have to make the toughest decision, uh, and then any consequences of that, or you felt that whether
Mhm. Mhm. My experience as a criminal investigator, as well as a commander in the criminal investigative division, I brought over to the county when I came in 2014 as a chief deputy. And it was important because when I was at a smaller agency, I had to do more for myself in terms of the work. Here at Dallas County, because we are a larger agency, we
Mhm.
may have a unit that does a specific task, if you will. Whereas in a smaller agency, you may not have a unit. You may be that one unit. You may be that one person unit. And because I learned from being a one person unit and having to do many tasks involved in law enforcement on my own, I brought those skills over, and probably the most challenging
Mhm.
uh, instance that I've had to deal with was trying to decide if investigating a case and trying to decide if probable cause existed in the arrest of an officer
Okay.
of one of my peers. And
Oh,
that but you have to do what is right. You have to have integrity in your investigations. And so if it is something that you have to say, well, yes, probable cause does exist to make an arrest, then you have to do that.
right.
And if it doesn't, then you say that it doesn't. You can't be swayed by exterior forces. You can't be swayed by politics. You
Mhm.
have to do what is right,
Okay.
and you look at the elements of an offense. You
Mhm.
decide if the elements of the offense have been met, and then you make a determination.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, overall, I'm very sure that it takes a lot more. The how do you say, like, the intuition and inner thoughts, and also the ability
Mhm.
to make that quick decision,
Yes,
or whether right or wrong. Believe me.
yes,
So I'm sure that. So, well, thank you for sharing that one, because I know that a lot of women don't have that. The confidence itself is a key, and to develop
yes,
that, you have to believe in ourselves,
mhm,
and then do what the right thing to be.
yes.
So, well, also, like, I'm very sure that like, share us a little bit about your family life. That how is your weekend? Like, how do you actually spend your time with your family?
Okay, well, since the advent of COVID,
Yes.
we've been spending a
Oh,
lot of family time. But prior to COVID, my weekends were extremely busy.
right.
And I would joke when I would come to work on Monday mornings, and I'd say something like, well, I need to talk to somebody. I got shortchanged on my weekend. I'm not sure where my weekend went. Very busy, but I try to enjoy and appreciate every ounce of time that I have with my family. My family is a very busy family. My husband and I are both in very demanding roles, not only in our jobs, but also just throughout the community as a whole. And we try to use those opportunities. For instance, if I have to go to something, I'll invite him to come and go with me, and vice versa. If he has an event, then he will invite me to go with him, because we try to enjoy those moments together, and we try
That
to
is
be
very great
one
uh,
another. Yes,
for that one also.
yes,
So yeah, then thanks to the 2020, so it
yes,
the value
indeed.
of the family and spending time together. I guess this guys for all of us who stay busy, without taking a break.
Yes.
So do you have like something like I spend time with my friends, go for a coffee, or do you even have time for that?
Not really, but you know what? I need to. I really, really need to, because it is so important that we as women take care of ourselves. You know, in law enforcement training, when you go through the academy, one of the things that they teach you firsthand is that if you don't take care of yourself, keep yourself safe, keep yourself healthy, then you're not a very much help to the people in the community. And so that's true for us as women. If we don't see after ourselves, if we don't look after ourselves, it is more of a challenge for us to do the things that we do. We have so many roles, so many hats that we wear. And if we don't look out for ourselves, then it creates a hardship for us to see after anyone else.
Right, right. Well, that is so, and also to have fun. So, what do you do? Like, what are you like? Do you read? Do you paint, or go for a walk? Like, what are your favorite?
I do a lot of singing in the mirror.
Really? Wow, I'm
I
gonna.
do a lot of singing, not in the mirror, just walking around the house and singing. I
Okay,
enjoy music,
okay,
so I do a lot of singing,
okay.
and that's probably my biggest thing to do, because I can do that at any point, whether I'm in my car, whether I'm at the house, whether I'm here in the office and there's anybody here or not, and I can close the door. That's probably the biggest thing that I enjoy doing right now.
Right, like seeing like no one is listening. It's just for me. So,
That's right, indeed. You bet.
well, I think you gave us a clue. So next time when we meet, I think I'm gonna take you.
Don't put me on the spot.
We want to hear your voice. I mean, you never know that how bad we are. Definitely are going to,
Well, when I get in the shower, I'm really very good.
okay, all right. I'm completely 100% with you. So, well, another thing that I always think about officers, like, they work so hard and
Mhm.
long hours and
Yes,
night shifts, and also, especially who are with the patrolling, the duty that, it is
yes,
extremely hard work that nonstop. So when you were in that situation, you're completely exhausted, worn out, and you just like certain situation is going on, and like one that just we faced, like the somebody's burst, the pipes are busted, the electricity is not there,
yes.
and kids are in the hospital, and COVID is going on. I mean, it is
Mhm.
like not double, triple. It's a big whammy that happened, and
Mhm.
like okay, you have to be there. So and you're not allowed to take a break. So how do you keep yourself going, energetic, and you still have to smile at people, and you still have going? How do you do that?
Well, you tell yourself that this is not going to continue for long, that at some point there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and
Right.
you look toward the light, is what I say. You
Mhm.
look toward what you expect it to be when you come out on the other side of whatever the situation might happen to be. Because you're right, in the recent storms, ice storms that we had right here locally in the Dallas area, you know, we went home, there was no power.
Right. Oh yes.
You had to eat still. You
Yes.
still had to tend to family
Yeah.
and then go to bed, and you had to get up and come back to work because you have to come and see about other people.
Yeah.
So that goes back to talking about how important it is that you see after yourself. You do the things that you need to do to see after yourself so that when you really reach that hard point, that hard, that difficult situation, that you have the stamina to withstand whatever that situation is and to keep going
Mhm.
until you get on the other side of that situation.
So yes, I think like especially when you are in this role, I think it's even
Yes,
of a harder the warriors, the first line worker, like even the doctors and
yes,
physicians,
indeed.
and that you really play a very prime role and also very important role, that you have absolutely no time to think. All you do is
Right.
keep moving
You
and
have to just do it.
do it exactly.
Yes.
So, I'm going to come a surprise question for you, because I know that this is going to be one of the questions that I think I asked you this question earlier sometime, that what is your take on getting into politics?
You know, it's interesting that you should ask that because I never anticipated being in politics. And some of my friends told me that when they heard that I was going into politics, that they didn't believe it because they thought, Marion, the really private person, she's going to go into politics where she's going to be public and she's going to be everywhere and everything to everybody. They didn't believe it.
Mhm.
Uh, I didn't believe it, truth be told, but I felt like it was a calling on me. And so it wasn't like I said, I'm not going to do it,
Mhm.
because I felt like it was indeed a calling for me. Again, going back to being available to set an example
Mhm.
for other young ladies,
Okay.
for them to see.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. Because I don't know how well we can keep ourselves when once you enter the politics, to
Mhm,
yourself as a private person, because it's
mhm.
almost impossible.
It is. It
Uh,
is.
and also, you have to give everything what you have to bring in
Yes.
change. So I strongly believe you have it in you.
Well, my husband told my daughter once upon a time when I first got into politics, he said, she belongs to the people now.
For the people, yes. Once
Yes.
completed. So well, thank you for choosing that, because I know that now we are openly reach out to you, and like openly talk to you, and we can say, hey, we have someone that we who will take our side and just
Yes.
this to us, and that is a very good feeling to have. So, and let's talk a little bit more about the world women. And so what is the I know that they played an extremely well role when we were facing the COVID-19 situation.
Mhm,
As a matter
mhm,
of fact, one of them contributed big time in finding the solution of a vaccination. So
mhm.
tell me, I mean, like, how good that we can get to stand equally, that to be considered.
Women, we have so much that is required of us, but my saying is, to whom much is given, much is required.
Right.
And so this is why we have so much that is required of us, because we have it in us.
Mhm.
We have it in us. And all we need is an opportunity
Right.
to demonstrate it, to show it that we can do those things that predominantly are done by males:
Right.
doctors, lawyers, engineers, all of those roles
Right.
that have traditionally been served by males.
Right, right. Well, especially I'm very proud of scientists and astronauts, and like in pilots. Like those are very unique roles that we probably did not even think that we could get there, and they
Mhm.
actually not just getting there. They've already proved themselves that we are successful by taking that role as well. So
Yes, indeed. And it's important, again, that we make sure that we are translating to those coming behind us that they can do those very same things.
mhm. Yeah. Well, also, I'm going to ask you. I know we have seen so many successful people, and I'm a big fan of Oprah Winfrey, because such a big role model of and down to earth in everything that what she shares. And so now we have our own, you know, our vice president, Mrs. Kamala Harris, on there. So what do you think that, where are we going from here? Is it exciting?
I think it's very exciting, and I'm watching the ladies as they get their Chuck Taylor tennis shoes and their pearls. And
Yeah.
I must say that I've gotten my pearls out and put my pearls on. And I had a young man say to me, "You're missing the Chuck Taylors." I said, "Okay, I haven't moved to that yet." But I think this is very exciting, and I think it's the start of something grand. Oh my goodness, this is wonderful.
Yes. So we do have a lot more expectation and opportunities that that to prove now that that she already, like what you said, that we already, and our friend Vandal, I agree. Yes, very much. I give. She's the correct.
Yes.
And
Yes,
thank
indeed.
you, Vandala, for agreeing with us. So
Yes.
definitely we need to follow the the footsteps, and we have. So well, I have one more question for you. So
Okay.
we are so successful, we have achieved something, and we are also going as we go, and we are trying to accomplish everything. So what is your message, whether it's a young woman or a the woman who is actually trying to achieve success in her career, in any career, or even just studying and then having a goal of being successful? What is your message to them?
I say to them that you are indeed special,
Mhm.
that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And I say to them that the reason that you have so much that is required of you in those moments when you think, my goodness, there is so much that I have to do, the reason that you have so much required of you is because you have been given so much.
Right.
And you were given much, not just so that you could sit on it, so to speak. You were given much such that you can encourage others who come behind you, such that you can demonstrate what it is that you have been given in the way of gifts and talents and abilities, so that you can show the world that you are indeed
Mhm.
special.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you
Mhm.
so much for such a wonderful message, because I know that the whole world is watching, and I think coming such an inspirational way, that the way that you put it is definitely that we want to hear. Especially, we are recovering from several hits by recently 2020, and I think this is one of the best thing happened. By electing. Our vice president, and starting from that, and I think hearing from you, it is a wonderful thing. So thank you so much for choosing this role as a
Thank
chair.
you. Yes, thank you very much for having me on the program. I appreciate it very
Absolutely.
much.
Absolutely, it's an honor to have you and pleasure to have you here, because you took your time in your busy schedule and came here and encouraging and guiding many women with your experience, sharing your wisdom. And it means a lot to us, because showing them that that nothing is impossible, and
That's right.
if I can do it, you can do it too. See, here is what the door is open for you, and then
Yeah,
that go ahead, like just go forward, and if you have that desire and urge in you, just go and accomplish what you want, and that is
yeah.
one best thing that you can do to prove yourself that yes, you can. And also thank you so much for I have to thank Jasmine and Kanti for those women, and
Yes,
they're making it
indeed.
possible.
They are exceptional, both of them. Yes.
At our right hands. And absolutely, I have to thank them for making this possible, and my entire team of Aisha News, and also the everyone who actually contributed. And I hope all the audience folks, I hope you all enjoyed it, and this was for you, women who are watching us globally. And I hope you enjoyed every minute of this one. And please do join me again this coming 20th and 24th for the exciting panel discussion, as well as the Mrs. Karnataka International show is coming up as well. Everything about real estate that you can ask question on 20th, and so that all can enjoy. And well, thank you so much, Sheriff Brown, for coming, and looking forward to see you again as we
Yes,
go
indeed.
share more information, experience with us as we go. So till then, stay cool, stay connected, and don't forget to watch Global Gupshup whenever you can. And thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night and a wonderful day everywhere globally. Thank you.
Thank you.